Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro flushed hops, cold stored yeast and milled to order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm. I've been looking out my window ever since Wednesday, and there's no sign of Conor McGregor coming to deck me yet.
Yes. Well, I think maybe it'll take him a little while to get over here.
Right, that's true.
I think he's definitely coming. He's coming for your
ass. Does he live in Dublin? Do you reckon? He's sort of jumping on a Ryanair flight as we speak.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's probably cancelled. That's why he hasn't made it over to you yet. It's probably cancelled. Being
Budget
Ryanair,
Airlines, yeah.
Ba-boom. Yeah. So that was a cool video this week. I really enjoyed it. And what a day to be alive to drink that many nitro stouts.
Yeah, and it was.
Did you feel very nitrogen heavy? Well,
I mean, let's be honest. I'm only taking little sips. I probably only had maybe a pint by the end.
Yeah.
And it was a really lovely warm day.
Nice.
So it wasn't really nitro stout weather. Maybe a Guinness extra cold in a beer garden might have been acceptable, but generally it was. Because those samples do start to warm up pretty quick as well, while I'm fannying around, getting the cameras rolling again and stuff. So, I mean, it was fun. It was certainly fun. It was certainly interesting. And we certainly, we'll get into it later when we talk about the episode, but certainly learned that there is a macro nitro stout out there that might rival Guinness. And from the comments, it seems like Irish people knew that already. But so I was very rude about Conor McGregor's beer, and he hasn't murdered me yet. There was a great comment from tweet from Jake Overton, who's a YouTuber, saying that perhaps I could be the next in line in the conversion of YouTubers to boxers, because there's been 2 already.
Oh wow!
Maybe I go toe to toe with Conor McGregor after we've had a couple of pints, and.
One of them's fighting Tyson, right? Supposedly.
Oh dear, I hope he's going to wear ear protectors.
I think he's going to need a bit more than that. Tyson's definitely going to knock his block off, for sure.
I mean, these guys are idiots, but they've got money. They're training hard, right? They're not... This
is like Logan Paul or something, or Paul. Jake Paul, or one of those guys, right? One of those, I think that's their names. I've never watched one of their videos, Johnny. They seem very annoying.
Yeah, I think they're like pranksters and...
Right.
I think one of them's also a musician as well. I mean, to be fair, they seem like quite talented people, and I never want to dismiss, all of these people are exceptionally talented businessmen and presenters. But I don't know what they do with their talents. I sometimes question. But if he wants to get beaten up by Mike Tyson, then all power to him, I guess. I don't want to get beaten up by Conor McGregor. Just to be clear.
Isn't Tyson about 60 years old? I don't know how old he is, but I think he's pretty old.
This is the first time I've ever thought about Mike Tyson's age. So I can tell you.
I think he's really quite old. 57 years
57.
Old. Yeah, but I reckon he's still the danger in the room.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's not done a Wayne Rooney and really embraced not being a sportsman anymore.
No, I reckon he's properly...
He's kept himself
properly naughty still. Yeah. He's naughty, Johnny. I reckon he's naughty.
I think he definitely is. I think he's quite a... Oh, God, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep insulting massively stacked people?
That's it. Go on, take a swing at Tyson now. I'm sure that'll work out just as well.
Yeah, be fine. Famously level-headed. Yeah, so so I've been hiding out in my house in case Conor McGregor comes and haven't gone out. Have you been out beering?
You're in deep cover.
Deep cover,
yeah, I have. I have for once a little bit. Yesterday was May Day, wasn't it? Sorry, I say yesterday. Wednesday.
Yeah, don't
the first.
don't let them know
May.
we're recording on a Thursday again.
Oh shit. Was May Day, Johnny. So I was working in the morning, and then I had a meeting uptown in the afternoon, and I managed to shoehorn in between that like a 1 hour trip to Deptford to go and watch a Jack in the Green celebration, which I go to every year. Annoyingly, it was on a Wednesday this year. Normally, well, I don't want to say normally, but last year it was on a weekend.
Yeah,
and it
roughly
was,
2 and 7 would be at a weekend.
Yeah. It was great. It was the 40th anniversary one as well in Deptford, so I just caught a bit of it. I went to Little Faith.
Whoa.
And
You've glossed over.
Yeah.
You've glossed over. I presume there were Morris dancers, and that's why you were there.
Oh, loads of Morris dancers, Johnny. I recognised loads of the same people from last year.
You know my face now. Do they know your face? Because that would be concerning.
No, they don't. I wish they did, but they don't. But it's full of amazing characters, and it sort of processes all around Deptford, including Deptford High Street, which on a Wednesday is market day. So there's market traders and
Must
stuff.
have been chaos.
It was just absolute chaos. Like hundreds of people dressed in green, sort of Wicker Man looking folk
buying batteries and toothpaste off the back of a lorry. And...
Well, just processing with loads of drums and like shaker instruments, making funny bugly noises while people are flogging underwear and knockoff perfume and stuff.
And what were you doing?
I was filming some of it on my phone. I was walking down the road with a pint of beer, and I was generally having a good time. I was hanging out with some nice guys from Hot Burns Black. So Tobes, my buddy Toby, who runs the Deptford branch, he books the day off every year to get involved. So hooked up with Toby for a small amount of time. Also the guys that run Little Faith Beer, they were on the route as well. And I actually went there first. I went to the Bird's Nest first, and I saw there was no one in there. I went to Little Faith, and no one was in there. Like, literally no one. But the guys who run it, who I've known for a long time, they called me in. They were like, Brad, come in. And they gave me a free beer, which was very nice. Thank you, guys. And we just chatted shit for a little bit and then followed the procession. And then I
picked up your ribbons and went dancing down the street.
Yeah, well, like last year, me and Kirsty, my partner, we said, well, next year we're gonna take musical instruments with us because we were lacking. So we go to boot sales regularly, as I might have mentioned. And
once or twice.
My plan was, Johnny, that I'd buy some percussive little musical instruments that I could take along this year. Did I fuck? I didn't buy anything. So
well, you can borrow my daughter's for next year because she's got too many of them.
Yeah. I was literally looking at like babies and kids' musical instruments every time I went to a boot sale, but I didn't buy any. But next year, John, it's always next year.
I've got a mini tambourine. I've got some Disney maracas. I've got
beautiful.
a xylophone on which I've learned to play the Bluey theme tune.
Well, that's pretty good.
As well as
you are very
I'm
musical.
Pretty good at Lord of the Rings. That goes do 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 do.
Oh wow, yeah, I love
so
that song. Like the Shire song.
I'm trying to sort of imprint it in
Great.
my daughter's memory so that when she's old enough and we can watch Lord of the Rings together, she's going to be like, "Why do I know that tune?"
Yeah,
and then I'll show her all the videos
cuts
of me playing it to her. Yeah.
9 hour straight.
Oh yeah, we're going to go director's
back-to-back
edition. She's not going to know what's hit her.
Yeah.
Mind you, they love telly kids, don't they? So if I said we're going to sit down and watch 10 hours, they'd be like...
They're a little bit scary, but yeah, I reckon they'd go for it. Yeah, so that was cool. And I kept missing my train. I was like, I'll go in a second. And then I missed about three trains. Luckily, they're very regular through Deptford. But yeah, so I went up for a meeting afterwards up near London Bridge. and I met in a place called Brigade Bar and Kitchen, which is very interesting. It's like a sort of social enterprise restaurant, and they help vulnerable, socially isolated, or people impacted by kinds of life circumstances get back on their feet, and they help teach them to become chefs, essentially, which I thought was great.
Kind of 15 vibes.
So, kind of 15 vibes. Yeah, from back in the day. And I thought we were going for dinner, so I was quite excited. And I didn't eat much lunch, and I'd already had a couple of beers on the procession. And then we just spent about 3 hours drinking in there, not eating. So I was a little bit worse for wear. But what was very interesting, Johnny, in terms of beer, was that all of the beers on tap were kind of beers that do good, which I really liked. So we had Toast, which we all know, Toast Brewery, recycle waste bread.
Saving bread and pasta from landfill.
Yeah, bread and pasta from landfill, which I don't really understand who's wasting pasta, because it's impossible to leave pasta, isn't it, Johnny? It's not
I don't know, because pasta's one of those things that you always think you haven't got enough, and then you put it on the plate and you're like, well, this is far too much pasta. I've wasted pasta in my life.
But you could probably still eat it. Well, you wouldn't eat it. I guess you got to let your brain catch up. Sometimes it's easy to get caught out by pasta, for sure. But anyway, so that's Toast. And then they had Tap Social as well, who are up, I think, in Oxfordshire.
In Oxford,
and that is a brewery. Oxford, in Oxford, right? With they've got a tap room as well, haven't they? Maybe you've been there. I don't know.
They've got a. I haven't actually been to this one, but there's a great place. So I'm from Oxford. For those, I was born there. No, I wasn't. I was born in London, but I lived there for most of my life. They've got an amazing place called the Covered Market, which is a beautiful built, sort of internal market with food and great leather bags. If you're in the market for a leather bag, but they've now got a bar in there. I think it's a really, really cool place to have a bar. So it's well worth checking out if you're in Oxford.
Nice.
Yeah, and they're all it's all ex prisoners, right?
Ex offenders, yeah. So they're again training up people that have had hard backgrounds into the beer industry, which I think is great as well. And I think that is a social enterprise, right? They're kind of run as like a sort of charitable type of fair.
I think Toast is a B Corp rather than a social enterprise, maybe. But
sounds about right. Yeah. So I had several pints of, I think it was Tap Social's IPA, which was tasting pretty good. I must say, it tasting all right. And we had some. The only food we had was like sort of healthy chips, Johnny. That I don't know, like bloody turnips or something.
Healthy chips? Do you mean vegetable chips?
Yeah, crisps.
Crisps.
Not chips
crisps.
even. Yeah, like shards of turnips and shit, which didn't even have salt on.
Oh dear.
So it wasn't. It was a bit. That wasn't, but very, very good. But the beer was good. At least
you got one of your 5 a day. Actually, I don't think it counts.
I got at least. Deep-fried. They were deep fried, yeah. But yeah, it was great. It was really nice. So I had a good beery day yesterday for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've done, as we've established, all I've done this week is drink a mega ton of stouts and porters.
Yeah,
and
which looked fun.
Yeah,
too,
and actually, to be fair, once I finished, I had a nitro porter, so I clearly enjoyed it enough to keep on going.
Nice.
I'm off to the Fortnum and Mason Awards tonight, Bradley.
Are you? Are you nominated?
No,
again,
I'm not
then?
nominated this year.
Right.
I'm. What if you've won in the past? I think you get an invite for life. And my book agent was like, "Do you want to come along, meet some other people on my books?" And I was like, "Yeah, sweet."
Right. Yeah.
But really, I'm going in the hope that Stanley Tucci's there.
Okay. Yeah, Tucci.
Because he's a bit of a hero of mine and a serious crush of my wife's. So
really, a crush of your wife's? That's interesting.
I think is
he a crushable guy?
I think he's quite. He's. My wife has had these conversations a couple of times with people, and she's like slightly embarrassed, sort of say, "Oh, Stanley Tucci's my crush," and then just had blanket agreement. Everyone like, "Yeah, I get it." He's just so suave and elegant and interested. And,
are you?
All the things I'm not.
Starting. Oh, come on! Don't
but I do have similar hairdo, similar glasses.
I think your glasses are very similar. Like your glasses are similar to the glasses I've worn for years, but now I look, they're even more.
I was
like
inspired by
Stanley
Tucci, not you, I'm afraid, Brad. Maybe that was a bit.
Well, I don't know. I'd say you're inspired by what you see every day, mate.
And I do see
That's what you're
you.
inspired
I
by,
do see
right?
you a lot. Yeah.
But Tucci, interesting. So are you going to progress, do you think, into more of a Tucci type look?
I don't really like suits or blazers, so I don't think I could ever go down his road.
You're screwed.
Yeah,
then. That's what he wears. Seemingly.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's a man that likes a tie / a bow tie.
He does. He does like a really good, like, I'd imagine like a cashmere jumper or a roller neck. I could possibly. Oh no, what am I talking about? I couldn't turtleneck. But I can admire him without wanting to be him. But I've taken inspiration, taken what I wanted from him, and from Ryan Reynolds and from Brad Evans, my 3 style icons.
Thank you. Thanks for putting me in the list. He's got kind eyes.
He does have kind eyes, yeah.
He looks like he's got kind eyes.
And also,
he's got a good voice.
He's got a great voice. And Claudia Winkleman's going to be there, a real hair hero for many people.
The Winkler.
Yeah. So, that basically I'm going to Celeb Spot and to meet my agent, but also to meet the Snack Hacker.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about this.
I'm going to be asking the Snack Hacker
Egg
for a collab. We'll see how that goes.
Love George Egg. He's a ledge. He's my man crush.
Is he? I'll let him know.
No, but no, he's not my man crush. But I crush on his snack hacks. I think they're awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking Hangover
they're
Snack
really
Hacks with the Craft Beer Channel. If he's up for it.
And he's got an incredible collection of toasty presses. So, like, all kinds of... they're all hanging up on his wall in the background. You can spot them sometimes. Like, little French and Belgium toasted sandwich presses from, like, 50 years ago with loads of different shapes on the cast iron or whatever they're made from, cast aluminium. Like, scalloped ones with shells on and kind of round ones and squarey ones with patterns, and they're just beautiful things.
Have you come across El Burrito Monster? This summer, I'm going to be hosting talks at the Manchester, Bristol and London craft beer festivals, giving festival goers the chance to attend tutored tastings, rare beer pours, meet the brewers and even guided tours of the bars. These 3 festivals are the highlights of my events calendar, featuring some of the world's best breweries with delicious restaurant pop-ups, great music and a really welcoming party atmosphere. It's the 3rd year I've been hosting the We Are Beer Tastings table, but for the first time I'm delighted to offer all of our listeners, viewers and Patreons £5 off a ticket when you use the code CBC5. Just hit the link in the description to buy. See you there.
No, with a name like that, I definitely remember.
So
no,
he's another sort of Instagram chef sensation, and he basically everything he makes is meals within various bastardizations of a burrito.
Cool.
He started off like it was a little bit laddie, it's a little bit silly, but this dude has gained culinary skills. The stuff he is able to do now is utterly incredible, and you just remind me because of all the toast presses. Like he's started really expanding out in the things that he's using to cook his stuff. He's also clearly a beer nerd because he has some Northern Monk glassware that has appeared occasionally in videos. So maybe I need to drop him a line as well.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to collab with him.
He's millions of followers now on Instagram. He might be.
Oh, wow.
Too big a burrito for us to bite.
Yeah, interesting.
But yeah, so I'll let you know how the conversations with the Snack Hacker go. And I'll hopefully send you a photo of me looking identical but less well-dressed than Stanley Tucci.
To Tucci.
Yeah, to the Tucci.
I think you should try and find out what he's wearing and then copy it.
What, like just keep watching Instagram until the last minute and then go out and buy a suit?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'll consider it.
No, out of your suit wardrobe, you've got like a Batman cave sort of layer of suits.
I have
probably
the suit I wore at my wedding and the suit that wasn't good enough for my wedding.
Well, surely it's going to be the same as one of those.
You reckon?
Right? Yeah. How many different kinds of suits are there? No, I know there are lots. Did you know I used to wear suits to art school? I don't know if I've ever told you that.
That's a choice. That's certainly a choice.
Yeah, I used to wear, like, not all the time, but sometimes. I was quite skinny, and I used to wear a flared kind of, what would you call it? Like a kind of, I've forgotten what it's called. Like a check, but like a green sort of. Oh my god, what are they called? What's the fabric called? The
herringbone?
No, like a sort of shooting, hunting kind of look, green, Scottish kind of. What the fuck's that called? I can't even remember. Like you get on a flat cap and stuff as well. Like a Harris tweed, like a tweed, Johnny, a tweed. Yeah, I used to wear like a tweed full suit with slight flares at the bottom. It looked pretty good, to be honest. And I'd wear like a sort of.
I want to see these photos.
Deep plunging neckline, Russell Brand-esque shirt.
Wait, are you a lot older than we think you are, and you're talking about the 60s?
No, I'm not. This was in New Rave. I also went to New Rave and electro clash parties, and
you must have been very sweaty in tweed at a rave.
Yeah, I used to go to Trash nightclub, which was a legendary London nightclub run by Errol Alcan, it's been gone for I don't know how many years, but it was amazing. Like I saw the Yeahs playing there, and every hype band you can imagine played in this tiny little venue underground, like literally underground, in the West End. And yeah, I used to go there in a 3-piece suit and stuff.
I really hope that one day we'll get an email from somebody going, I met a guy at Trash Nightclub dressed in tweed. Off his face.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to beer. So, one bit of beer news caught my eye this week, which was a study, a legit scientific study done by a man, or led by a man, Zhao Tao Yang.
A man. Yes.
Who essentially was celebrating finishing some other paper and having a beer, or was it a baijiu, a whiskey, with his friend who he'd finished doing the paper with, and they got chatting about why different drinks taste better at different temperatures.
Yes,
so they decided their next paper would be about that. And this has been all over the mainstream press, because essentially, when it comes to beer, what they decided was beer is best served at fridge temperature. To which everybody was like, well, yeah.
They went, duh.
Yeah. But, I mean, we now have some... I mean, it's obviously incredibly complicated thing as to why beer is best served at like 4 or 5 degrees. Not all beers, though, of course, and they do admit that in the study. But it's not just down to... Because, you know, the thing that I've said on the channel and the sort of the perceived wisdom is that beer tastes great cold because you're suppressing certain flavours that you might not want, and you are therefore exposing the flavours that you do. Or if it's a really bad beer, you're just muting as many flavours as possible. Because the theory is that, you know, the colder something is, the less you can taste, because the less volatile the compounds are. Which is thermodynamics, I guess. I'm probably frustrating a lot of scientists out there. But so this guy, Zhao Tao Yang, has worked out that alcohol or ethanol behaves differently at different temperatures in liquids.
Oh.
So... and it's not sort of a linear thing. It's like got plateaus. So basically he's saying that around about 5 degrees, the ethanol is combined in a certain shape that I guess it improves its sort of flavour, its roundedness, its sweetness, its presence there. And as it gets warmer and the ethanol molecules, they stop sort of clumping and go into long lines. And that, as far as I can see from the scientific paper, is less satisfying to our palates.
That's cool, man. Science.
Science,
yo. Science. Love a bit of science, Johnny.
So, yeah, I mean, I still think, you know, nothing changes as far as our beer school glass, which you can buy at themaltmiller.com. Nothing changes on there. We've still got it right. but it's worth bearing in mind that maybe if in doubt, we've got if in doubt ABV +2, or if in doubt just serve it at 5
and let it warm up until you like it.
Well, that or just because science says it'll probably be best at around that temperature.
Damn science.
I mean, I'm very much. Some people say you should drink some beers at like cellar temperature, but I'd never drink anything warmer. Room temperature, but I'd never drink anything warmer than 12.
Do you think coffee might have a similar thing? Because I'd much prefer it at 5 degrees than
you do. But I think what you
degrees.
really prefer about iced coffee is the sugar.
Yeah,
I think that's why you like iced
Although
coffee.
I tell you what, I've had from M&S, they do like this sort. I don't know what they call it. It might even be called like cold brew or something in a can, and it's 2 shots of coffee in a can. Doesn't even taste very milky, Johnny, but I think that tastes.
Does it have milk in it? Because cold brew is a thing.
It
it's
must
brewed cold.
It must have some milk in it, but I'm like, this doesn't taste like a normal one of these that I like. But it still tastes pretty good.
You don't do tea or anything. You don't do hot drinks, right? What about a cup of cocoa?
Maybe. Yeah, I like a hot chocolate or a cup of cocoa. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, 100%. I will drink some cocoa of an evening, and also I very much enjoyed when we were in Pennsylvania, and we went to that place for scrapple. And they had
it's a memory I've tried to
coffee.
Block, but scrapple in Pennsylvania. yeah.
Scrapple in Pennsylvania with the Mennonites. No, they weren't Mennonites. Sorry, they were the Amish. I don't think they were Mennonites. Maybe
we met the Mennonites
well.
on the hike we went on, and the Amish people were ragging around on their carts,
on their buggies. They're called buggies,
are they? Sorry,
yeah, buggies. But we had the scrapple, and then they had coffee and creamer in there. In that little weird dinery place we were in, and I really enjoyed that because of the sugar.
Yeah, I think it's the sugar.
Like you say, it was the sugar in the creamer. I was like, that's a tasty coffee. Yeah, give me some more of that creamer.
Yeah,
gets rid of the coffee flavor. Yeah, but no, it was good. I enjoyed
better
that.
Than the scrapple.
That's a good memory. Much better than the scrapple.
Stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the scrapple.
Right, yes, back to beer again. So before we go on to this week's video, we should reference the fact that the Treehouse Brewery channel.
Yes.
So a week after we did our episode on can you drink where your beer is? Can you drink where your beer is from? Can you taste where your beer is from? I.e., is
Terroir.
Did a video about Terroir.
Treehouse did a
video about Terroir.
Treehouse did a week after we did, Johnny.
So there's something in the water.
Treehouse did.
Although we're drinking different water. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why this might have happened. I mean, for them, it's probably because, we're now in May. The fresh hops have landed. Well, actually, no, because they used Australian hops that they'd have had for a little while. Either way, clearly we're all on the same page. It's something that we want to talk about in beer, and obviously Matt Kersey's article was maybe 6 months ago, so it's a conversation that beer's trying to have with itself. And for better or for worse. And so they did a great video. Nate was stood outside the brewery that we've been to, and he was tasting 2 identical beers, Galaxy Hazy IPAs, that one was using Galaxy hops from Victoria, so mainland Australia, sort of in the southeast, and the other one was from Tasmania, across the... Is it a strait? It's going between 2 big land masses. So Galaxy... grown, I think he said, about 500 miles apart, to see whether they had a very different character. And I think probably the character difference wouldn't have been so big that you'd notice them not side by side, but side by side, he could definitely tell. Like, I think it was the Victorian one was a little bit more earthy, a little bit more spicy, a little bit more of that. I'm going to say it, not quite as good Galaxy, because Galaxy is a very variable hop. Whereas the Tasmanian was really bright and juicy and lemon and limey and vibrant. And there was a definite difference, even though those beers were identical. So it kind of, I think, to some extent backed up our assertion that side by side, Terroir can be obvious. But generally, it's a very hard thing to talk about and taste in beer. It is very much nuances, which is probably true of wine as well, I guess. But it was interesting to see that project be talked about in that way, because it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Tasmania on Wikipedia, Johnny, as well.
Right, go on.
Guess what the strait's called? It's a beer name.
Is it?
It's pretty good.
Oh my God. What is it?
The Strait. It's the Bass Strait.
The Bass Strait. Wow.
Yeah. And it's Tasmania is the 26th largest island in the world. It's surrounded by 1,000 islands.
Good Lord.
Is that where we got 1,000 island dressing from? I thought that was more like Caribbean.
Let's be honest. Once you've got
sort
a
of
few
thing.
hundred islands, you're probably just going to go, 1,000 islands. I reckon there's probably a lot of
Yeah,
thousand
'cause
islands about.
Is it Norway or is it Sweden? It's Sweden that's got the archipelago that's got like thousands of islands, isn't it?
Yeah, Sweden
'Cause they
has
all have summer
insane
houses on
numbers
them.
of islands, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, all this stuff, isn't it? Islands,
Geography.
loads of little islands, Johnny. Geography, yeah. You studied
it.
geography, didn't you?
Yeah, but I did human geography.
It's pretty good.
So not some mapping, but not a lot of maps. But yeah, anyway, so if you haven't seen that Treehouse video, it's well worth a watch. Nate's a great presenter, really explains things well, has a great palette and digs into it, and it's really interesting. So do give that a go if you enjoyed our Terroir video as well. It's sort of a more practical application because he has the ability to make beers specifically to talk about them. Though I am now thinking maybe next year with the next harvest, well, maybe we could do it with this harvest, we should do a homebrew experiment where we could get like American, UK and Australian Cascade or New Zealand Cascade. I can't remember which nation's growing it down there.
Yeah.
And brew like identical beers and just hop them with different Cascades.
Yeah,
really cool.
I love that idea. Let's do that.
And I'm sure there would be utterly... Well, actually, I'm not sure who's growing UK Cascade now. There can't be many, because I think Brookhouse were growing a lot of it, but they've gone under. So I'm not sure who's growing UK Cascade these days. I'll have to find out. Or ask Farrams. Right, enough about that. Let's talk about this week's video. Tell me what you thought about it. Were you surprised by the results?
I mean, I guess Beamish was like a mad surprise to think that that's so good out of a can. So yeah, I guess I was surprised. I was surprised that you voted the winner wasn't even a Nitro Stout. That was a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, as I said in the video, I didn't rate it as a Nitro Stout.
Yeah, as a Nitro
I rated
Stout.
it as an Imperial Stout.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good one from Brew York. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the winner wasn't, but that was just a joke. It has upset some people in the comments, and I guess I apologise to those people for having fun. But yeah, Beamish and London Black coming top, but only a point ahead of Guinness and O'Hara's.
Yeah, it's interesting that. I mean, I've got a question. Your palate must have been absolutely rinsed that day by all of those, right?
Well, what's interesting is, again, as I said in the video, Nitro actually mutes a lot of the flavour because a lot of flavour and aroma comes from the fact that it's bursting out of the glass because of the big CO2 bubbles. So that's why, if you had non-Nitro Guinness, it would probably have a much bigger, sharper flavour. And that was actually a real criticism when they invented it in the 1959. I think they released the Nitro version, and it's actually just a solution to try and deal with the fact that Guinness was always overcarbonated and hard to pour. That was the criticism from Guinness lovers. They were like, well, it doesn't taste the same, it's muted. And it wasn't necessarily popular immediately, particularly with Guinness diehards. So my palate was actually okay. The flavours were pretty similar, which was a bit confusing. But the aromas were actually quite different. So my palate wasn't as exhausted as, say, the triples or the supermarket IPAs. Somebody put in the comments, I think, that these kind of beers are actually quite good session beers. And there's this cliche that Guinness is like a meal in itself, and I don't really agree with that. It's quite sessionable. You can have 3 or 4 of them. So my palate was okay. The main issue was that the big pastry stout was put just before the London Black, which could have really done a disservice to London Black. But I don't think it did. I think what did more of a service to London Black, because I went back to look at whether I'd rather drink London Black or Beamish after I'd finished shooting, and I did prefer the London Black. And I think that in the blind taste test, when I didn't know what it was, I was thinking stout. So I was criticising it for like lack of roast, lack of bitterness, and I should have remembered there were porters in there, and maybe it would have got a point or two more. Because I did prefer it to the Beamish, but not to dismiss Beamish. It was great, and it had real assertive bitterness and good roasty body. It was just, it was a well-made beer. Whether you could drink a lot of Beamishes, I don't know. I've never tried, but it was a pretty bold beer compared to the others.
Yeah. We had a comment from Silver MC999. Good to see Beamish doing well. The owner, Heineken, spent a fortune on Island's Edge to compete with the Guinness and failed miserably. Seemed they should have just looked after Beamish and Murphy's instead.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. So Island's Edge seems to be a real big thing in Ireland, or rather the fact that it flopped seems to be a huge thing. Maybe because people are like, why on earth aren't you trying to take Beamish or Murphy's sort of national? But I guess because certainly Beamish has a kind of Guinness-esque look to it and feel to it as a brand, and maybe they thought the best thing we can do is to try and undercut Guinness by being modern and hip and cool, while Guinness is like this big traditional national icon, and that clearly flopped. I'd hope. I mean, I'm torn because I never want to pay Heineken anything or give them any promotion, but I'd rather see them work with Beamish or potentially Murphy's, haven't tasted it, than trying to invent something new that's trying to look crafty.
Agreed. Loads of people saying that they used to drink a lot of Beamish back in the day over a Guinness as well, which I find quite interesting.
I think it's pretty regional, right? Are they from Cork, or are they all over?
I think a bit all over, but yeah, probably you are right. It's probably skewed to your hometown sort of team vibes a bit. So we've had John Turner, not had a Beamish for ages. Used to be my preference to Guinness in my younger boozing days. They also used to make a cracking red ale, apparently, as well, which is interesting.
Right, is there was we got a tweet from Shane Costello, who retweeted. There's a bar called the Shelbourne Bar, I think, in Cork, that serves all three on tap. So you can go there and have a Beamish, a Murphy's, and a Guinness, and you can have a half of them for €7.
That's good. I like that. Let's go there. Can we go there, please? I like the sound of that. Can I get a flight of all three as pints as well, please? I don't want halves.
No, you're right.
I'll have. Maybe we should go and do that with the Muttonista himself, Prime Mutton. We'll go and do a three. I was about to say we'll go and do a three-way, but that sounds wrong.
Well, I mean, it depends how many pints we have, hey?
Yeah. We'll go and do a three-way pint
Three-way.
Three-way. And yeah, that could be good fun, I think.
He was on the Moon Underwater pod recently. Yeah, he was with our good friend, and he was talking a lot about Guinness, not spouting exact science about how Nitro works. Sort of definitely mainstream red top science, such as the stuff I've been reading today, trying to figure out that tasting study. But he also told a great story about he was drinking. He was on a train, and I think whether he bought it in a bottle shop or on the train, it was a can of something by Red Willow, and he said it was delicious. And he was looking at the can and saw that it was made in Macclesfield, and he was on a train to Manchester, which went through Macclesfield. So he got off at Macclesfield and went to Red Willow. It's just like, I'm going to go drink there if that beer's that good. Which I love that approach to life. But apparently his dad, who was picking him up at the station, was not so pleased.
Do we know what he does as a job or anything?
Well, I think he's
professional influencer.
Yeah, just internet guy now. Not really sure.
Great stuff. Yeah. No, he seems to be he's in China a little while ago. He seems to get around. He might be a spy, I think, Johnny. He seems to be in interesting places.
That's a theory, sure.
He's maybe the least spy-looking spy, which is what you want, really, isn't it? Yeah, but maybe that's good. It's like a double bluff.
Hiding in plain sight.
He's got
as
quite
a massive white man in China.
Yeah, with a boonie hat on or whatever, some sort of strange hat he's got on. But yeah, he's got quite a posh voice. Maybe he could be a spy. We got this comment, Lincoln Steeler.
Just straight back into it. Cool.
Yeah. I'm getting away from that now. Can't beat a creamy beamy. There you go.
Okay.
Guan Cork. P.S. Regular flights there from London and Manchester if you want to try a Beamish on tap, from Johnny Heath. So yeah, I want to go to Cork. I really want to go to Cork.
Cork's nice.
I've only been to Ireland once. I want to go to Ireland, man. I'd love to go this year.
You find the funding and we're there. We had quite a few comments across lots of different platforms asking why we didn't include Siren's Broken Dream, which is a champion beer of Britain and a beautiful Nitro beer in can. But we didn't want to include flavoured stouts and porters, apart from the one that was slipped in to fuck me up. So I think... actually, oh yeah, here it is. Joss Dutton, clearly a fan of BA Impy Stouts. I mean, who isn't? So next blind taste test. And I'm trying to work out how that would work, because obviously comparing... different adjuncts and probably wildly different strengths and all kinds of stuff might be a bit tricky, but maybe we could do could probably do a coffee stout one, or we could do one where maybe Brad, we definitely need you rather than the people I usually use, but could get a load of different barrel aged stouts. And then I could try and guess what the barrel is, or guess what the adjunct is, or something like a palate test.
Interesting.
To see, because it was really interesting when I did that, and I didn't know that the Brew York one was coming. It was pretty obvious that it was Tonka, but I didn't get any of the other things. Maybe because Tonka's so domineering. But I think in a blind taste test, it would be hard to know what's been added to these beers. I think I'd be surprised by how hard it is to tell.
Agreed. I want to know, Johnny, in your video, you scored something with a comment, Lotus of Raining.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be loads of
raisin?
raisin?
Loads of raisin, yeah. Lodas of Raining.
Okay. Lodas of
Which
Raining.
sounds like a Lord of the Rings character.
It certainly does. Lotus of Raining. I enjoyed that.
It's hard to type stood up. It's a different angle for your wrists. Because I touch type, if you change the angle or you change keyboard, suddenly your touch typing's thrown off. So I was all 6s and 7s when I meant 4 and 5s. Yeah. Just to clarify there. I'm a good typer. I don't want people to think I can't type.
No. We, just to get away from Beamish, because we've
done Beamish. Yeah.
This was interesting from Mr. Rougelot, long-time contributor to the podcast. He said, great video. I was looking forward to this blind taste test. Can we appreciate that an industrial mammoth like Guinness can pull off an alcohol-free version that's not the worst one in the whole test? That proves they know their stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it stood out like a sore thumb, but not for the thinness and the lower...
Not for the bad reasons.
Just because it smelt of so strongly of licorice.
Licorice, yeah, interesting. Cola and licorice.
Yeah. Which I need to go back, not blind. I haven't got a can. But I need to get one and see if, knowing that it's Guinness Low Alc, if it's still got that. Because obviously, when you've got no expectation, you do get different flavors, which is one of the big things I've learned from these blind taste tests. Like, beers taste different if you've had obviously 5 or 10 other beers beforehand, and if you have expectation going in. But it was probably, other than the Tonka, the most obvious aroma that came out. But it was a decent beer.
Nice.
Yeah,
love that.
I'd just seen a comment from Elliot Smith saying, maybe you're still recovering from the book writing, but I live for the dodgy typing. I'm glad it's part of the appeal of these videos. There's what was really interesting, and has been interesting about all of the blind taste tests, is how we sort of tap into these cultures that we don't know existed. So we've had somebody sort of come on and be like, oh, it's the a dark John Smith's off. And stuff like this, like opinions about things that I didn't know existed. Like that's how some people see Nitro, and a couple of people in the comments were like, I never drink Nitro beer. It makes everything taste disgusting, and I wasn't aware that was a thing. It's
maybe they could be sensitive to the nitrogen or something.
I mean,
I thought it was pretty inert. I mean, we're all breathing it all the time anyway. I think
it's entirely flavourless, and carbon dioxide, as far as I know, is entirely flavourless. It's just that it's got that harsh bubble and that kind of sting to it through your nose if you breathe it in that is just about distinguishable. But nitrogen, as far as I know, is like, I mean, it's 70% of what we breathe. So I'm not quite sure. I think it's probably down to that muted. The fact that it mutes other things might bring out other stuff. If you're not getting that really fresh whack of CO2, what's kind of replacing that on your palate? And it could be stuff that you are sensitive to, or you might really miss that refreshingness and find it kind of cloying. I don't know. It's an interesting one, but I really didn't find those beers cloying. Was it 12 of them? Well, 11 of them and a bonkers beer. And my palate was pretty fresh afterwards. I had another one, which I don't think I've ever done with the blind taste test. I've been like, do you know what I fancy? Another one.
Do you know, I've just started thinking about, Johnny, as we've been talking there, about being able to smell CO2 and not really being able to smell nitrogen and stuff. I just started thinking, because at the weekend, I was in Margate and it was sunny, but it also rained. And after the rain, you get that amazing rain smell. Which is petrichor and ozone. And geosmin.
Geosmin?
Yeah.
Don't know what that one is.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know what that is. But the name petrichor was bringing it back to Australia again, Johnny, was coined by 2 Australian scientists in the 1960s. And it's the smell you get after rainfall. That's a combination of ozone, petrichor, and geosmin, whatever that is. But could we make an ozone flavored beer or beverage? Because I quite enjoy it smells fresh and summery somehow. I want to make that in a drink.
Somebody made a beer called Petrichor in the UK, but I don't think it had any of those chemicals or smells in there. I think it was just they were trying to invoke that fresh,
summery. It's a British summer, great British summer where it's raining.
Yeah, basically the tarmac's hot,
warm. Yeah,
it's raining.
You get that smell. Yeah, I want a Petrichor / ozone beer.
Petrichor stout. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look into the science of getting ozone. I don't know if ozone is probably poisonous or something, but we'll find out. Cool, right, that's about all we've got time for this week. We will be back on Wednesday. I'm not quite sure which video is going to go live on Wednesday, so I can't give you a teaser, but there's a couple of options. And obviously, we'll be discussing that on the podcast next week. Just a quick reminder, there has been an advert, but you can buy tickets to the Manchester, London and Bristol Craft Beer Festivals using our link and our code to get a £5 off. And you can also now become a member of the Craft Beer channel on YouTube, should you choose to. And that will get you access to our Discord forum, as well as the ability to put GIFs and smileys in our live shows. Speaking of which, we have a live show coming on the 19th of May with Baron, in which we'll be drinking a selection of his delicious beers, plus our collab with him, which was a Strata, Simcoe and Motueka New England IPA, based off of Short Shorts. This one called Board Shorts. So that's 19th of May at 7 or 8 p.m. Live on YouTube. I think that's all the news from us. Is it?
Yeah. Pretty much, Johnny.
Yeah.
Just the news is that it looks sort of all right outside, and hopefully the weekend's going to be nice. It's a bank holiday, isn't it?
Yeah, don't get your hopes up. I believe.
So, first bank holiday. Is it first bank holiday of the year? It is, isn't it? So it's good. It's good drinking weekend.
Unless you count Easter.
We can all...
Are they bank holidays or are they religious holidays?
I don't know, man. Is this a religious holiday if you believe in
May,
the old ways, Green Man, May Day, all that sort of jazz? Maybe.
Nice.
Maybe.
Yeah, cool. Well, so if you are in England, have a wonderful May bank holiday, and just have a lovely Monday if you're not. And we'll see you on Wednesday. Love and beer. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the craft beer channel, and if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.